Outlaw, Macho, Drive-In.
And it's same with Casino Battle Royal, which I think is a dumb match anyhow. But
Still is, yeah.
AEW is like, it's like they want to bring in people. It's like bring them in for that match. Like they brought in Leo Rush for the one. That's a perfect example of the Forbidden Door, because it was, I mean, one, he retired right afterwards again, but at that point he was a MLW star. So it's like, hey, Leo Rush is here. He's in the Casino Battle Royal. Promote the other person's show on the commentary by being like, this is the blah 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 middleweight champion from Major League Wrestling. He's also can be seen on New Japan Strong. You promote, you do that, and you make those shows look good. You make them sound good, and you showcase that talent. You don't necessarily have to have them win, but you showcase the talent, and that's how this whole thing should be going. It should be. You don't necessarily want to always bring in Omega or Jay White, because if you look at AEW right now, Omega, with him being on Impact and Dynamite, he feels more like an Impact guy, because if you watch Dynamite, who feels like the top heel? MJF feels like the top guy, not Kenny Omega. MJF has completely morphed Kenny Omega.
And here's the problem, because MJF is, and I get that this is an artistic choice by Omega, but MJF is the serious heel. Omega is the cartoon. Yeah. Omega is the cartoonish guy, and again, Omega is doing this because he wants to generate. Because I get it, he's going against the grain. Like, he is not your typical heel. He's the video game heel, or he's the cartoon heel.
Yeah.
And he knows that pisses people off, and he's milking it. But you're doing too much of it, because then again, if you're too corny and you're too when it comes time to be serious, you're not going to be taken seriously.
Exactly.
It's
which is that how
honestly,
I was saying earlier, this past week he should have come out completely serious for that match with the Dark Order and Page. They should have been coming out serious for that match.
And here's the thing. He looked awkward as hell doing the whole basketball dribble and running.
He did.
He's not a natural goofball. That's the problem. The Bucks are natural goofballs. That's good. Kenny Omega is not a natural goofball. The Kenny Omega looks like the guy, the uptight guy who's trying to blend in with the cool cousins.
He had on BTE back before BTE became whatever the hell it is now. Back in the Ring of Honor BTE days, Omega could do comedy, but he always felt kind of obnoxious. Whereas the Bucks knew that they were obnoxious. Like, Omega would do a comedy bit, and he would do some face, and I could just imagine Jim Cornette just having a heart attack watching his face. But then you see, like, the Young Bucks, and they would do that thing where, they would sign the autograph and just, stare. They knew that they were being obnoxious.
They knew they were being obnoxious, and they were good at that.
Yes.
Again, and they were doing the... Yeah.
See, like, on Dynamite, like, Omega being obnoxious, it's not... And I know you and I have said this about people who hate The Miz, but the thing is, people who hate The Miz are still watching WWE. A lot of times, if I see Omega, a lot of times I'm just like, I don't want to see this, so I just turn it off or fast forward.
Once he starts, like, hitting the whole, his comedy, I'm like, oh, God. And this is the problem. You don't see a stand-up comic tell you the joke and then explain to you how he did the joke.
Yes, exactly.
Or like beat you over the head with the punchline, which Omega does, and he does it a lot. It's I mean, the whole thing with, and Jim Cornette roasted this part on his podcast where he was like, Don Callis had to tell him his line so he can continue. But he didn't forget his line. That was deliberate. They wanted Don Callis to tell him the line so that he can remember. And it would have been funny if he had not done various goofball things between
Mhm.
one thing and the other
Yes.
until I'm like, oh god, this guy is just unnatural. He's trying to convince me that he's a goof so I can hate him, but all he's trying to convince me is that
Yes.
he's fake. It's
And I'll say I'll give the Bucks this about that. They're doing the same thing but properly. Like,
Yes.
but they're not explaining anything. Like, they're coming out noxious, and granted they're still doing the too cool for school thing, but
but they don't talk
They're-
like you're in on the joke. That's the thing.
yes, exactly. Like they're coming out pretty much being like, hey, we milked all your guys' money. We took all your guys' money. We are better than you. We used you, and look how cocky we are. Like, you still want to punch the Bucks in the face. The same reason that people want to punch the Miz in the face.
Yes.
It's like I'm going to give them like people when we get in arguments with people about oh, you're getting pissed about the Miz for doing something. I'm feeling that way about the Bucks. But I see it in the other way where I'm like, okay, I'm not even a big Bucks fan, but I'm appreciating what they're doing. Omega, when he does it, I'm just like, ugh, no, just stop.
Yeah, it's like oh god. And honestly, let's be honest, he started doing that stuff in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
He did, yes.
Once he became a main eventer, before he got to the title, he became
Yes.
he was. And
It goes back to what you said about the G1.
yeah, yeah, and this is the problem I have with any form of entertainment. I absolutely hate things within the format just being plain explained to me. If I'm watching, and I always go back, there was this one TV show, the Arabic TV show that aired during Ramadan, back in 2015, 2014, I can't remember what it was. And it was like this big, like supposedly a supernatural horror, or I think, and they spent the last episode giving this woman who has survived the story itself, was trying to make it into a TV show. And she got this screenwriter, and they're talking to a potential producer, and she's talking about the screen, and basically they're giving him the script of the last 29 episodes. This is a show that happened and so forth. And one of the big twists in this show was that I'm gonna just go the premise, like shout out to whoever created the show Sab'a Wasaya, or the Seven Commandments. It's basically this father who had 7 children died in a room, and he had a lot to leave over. And while they were discussing what they're gonna do after their father died, how they're gonna handle his death, his body disappears, and they never know. And one of them starts having visions of the father. And the father keeps telling her, tell your brother that he needs to do this. Tell your sister he needs to do this. It's all like encrypted stuff that needs to be broken down and shit. Anyway, I'm getting off track. But one of the biggest things about this was that the body of the father disappeared. And the show ended without explaining that, which is okay. But then, you are bringing in this scene, the screenwriter. The screenwriter is talking like he read the story and he's like excited about this. And they're talking to this potential producer or whatever the hell she was supposed to be, and she's asking about, so where did the body go? And the screenwriter just goes into this tangent like, doesn't matter where the body went. It's not important dramatically. Maybe he didn't die. Maybe he was like tucked away by one of them. Maybe just God made him not visible to them. That's not what we're talking about. And and this is the problem. People might let this go, but I mean, someone like you would know. You and me are we're cut from the same cloth. Don't fucking tell me how I should process
Right. Yes.
what you're doing.
Yes.
It's that is more insulting than just not telling me what you're doing. It's just okay. You did this thing. Just shut up. If you're gonna explain it on a talk show about the show. Don't explain it within the freaking show.
Yes,
And
exactly.
which, let me bring this back. That's what Kenny Omega does. That's what
Does,
Kenny Omega
yeah.
did. He once did this in New Japan, where he was going to go against Okada for the second match, the Dominion match, and they'd had the sixth match, and he just slammed Okada through a table, and they ended the show like that. And of course, whoever ends the show needs to do the final word, which is a great New Japan transition. And this guy gets on the mic. What is a good guy? What is a bad guy? And what is and till this day, I hate that. That is
I know
one of
what
my
you're talking about.
Yeah, that is one of my most hated promos because this guy is just telling me that he's basically saying the Cody thing of old tropes or so forth. But I get that Omega has a specific artistic mind when it comes to wrestling that is probably unique. I'm not gonna take that away from him. It's awesome. Don't tell me that. I need to appreciate that for myself. You don't.
That is the same time I started myself down on Omega, because for the first Okada match, this is blasphemous for a lot of people, I found the first Okada match to be overrated. And then that promo, I do remember that promo is where I was like, okay, character-wise, he's not all that great either. But yeah, there was like 2016, I was about Omega. 2017, I was like going downwards on him.
Yeah, again, he was about Naito was hiding in plain sight. Naito was the best character in all of New Japan, maybe the best character of wrestling at the time, because he was going through a progression. Omega was just a guy, and even for the build-up for their first match at Wrestle Kingdom, Omega versus Okada, he talked about it's time to take this company worldwide. It's time to make it its supposed to.
Yeah.
And the sheer of again, during that time I only watched Wrestle Kingdom. I didn't watch the lead up to it. I started watching New Japan regularly right after that show, so I don't know how it was built during the lead up, but I was like, when I'm watching the video package now, looking back, and I'm like, I don't like when people try. You're not even breaking the fourth wall. You're just disregarding the fourth wall. You're just telling me this is what I'm doing. It's like, this is like one of those bad sketches where someone is on the stage and they narrate what is happening. At this point, I am feeling so and so, so I am yelling, so I am visibly angry, and then just goes back to the seat. No, don't do that. No, I'm not. And this is my problem with Omega. Again, great wrestler, yes. Am I a fan of Omega? Yes, I have a picture with Omega here somewhere. So I'm huh? But could he be a creative genius? Yeah, probably. But he needs to be checked.
Yes.
And he cannot be left to his own devices.
I've said the same thing about the Bucks over the years. Just because I bash the Bucks for Spot Fest doesn't mean I don't appreciate what they do in the ring. I've enjoyed their Spot Fest. Just because I bash the Bucks for being obnoxious doesn't mean I hate the Bucks. I just think they need to be put in check. Same with Cody. Cody needs to be put in check, and that's the thing with wrestling in general. People need to be put in check. And Omega, the Bucks, and Cody just happen to be the guys that have the most control.
The guys that have the most
AEW.
control. The guys who are not being put in check, even if Tony Khan is running it, I'm sure he.
Thank you for joining us on the Outlaw Macho Drive-In. If you liked that video, please click like and subscribe to our channel for more content from the Drive-In. For full episodes of our podcast, you may look us up on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are available. Just search for Outlaw Macho Drive-In. And if it's not too much trouble, would you help us out here? Spread the word, share. We would really appreciate it. Thank you. We love you. Bye.